What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode with D, Guiding D Light. I'm excited to be back, stepping into this joy. Holy crap, what a shift we've seen, right? In the holy solstice, right? Really holy shiitake mushrooms in some sense. So coming out of such a painful 6 months, right? You know, it wasn't very easy. I'm looking at my notes here. You know, it got really wicked out there, right? There was a lot of self-realization things, but then there was also this muck of the collectiveness being deciphered through, right? And what I mean by deciphered through, we not only looked at where we stood within the collective consciousness, but how the collective consciousness affects us, right? And for me, I got a little jelly. I'm like, I'm not where I want to be. I've been doing the things that I need to do to get where I need to be, but I'm not where I want to be. And, you know, I was kind of jealous of those people who are already there, right? But I had to stop back and humble myself and take a long look and see, okay, this didn't happen overnight for them, right? They've probably had their trials and tribulations. They've been doing it a little bit longer. Just keep putting the effort into the desired outcome, right? So if I sit there and I get jealous, what does that do? It just spins my wheels, right? So getting traction back, really kind of in the beginning of December, really getting that momentum back. It's been almost evidently clear over the last week and a half as this solstice has come in and these transfers have been happening. I mean, even within the astrology, we've got multiple different new beginnings happening, right? Lots of cycles closing. And what's happening at the end of those cycles is the thing that was there at the beginning of the cycle, the thought pattern and the thought of, I guess you could almost say the desired image. Well, now you're years down the road is different, right? So what I desired 12 years ago is not the same person as I am 12 years later, right? So for me, 12 years ago, I wasn't even on a spiritual journey. In fact, I don't even think you could have told me, or literally I would want to sit down and believe you, right? Hogwash, blowing smoke. You got snake oil, right? I was clearly one of those within the program, right? But now I've kind of deprogrammed myself, came on this spiritual journey, and wow, what a journey we've been on, right? So where I was 12 years ago is completely a different shade of me here 12 years now, right? And that 12-year cycle that I'm talking about is Jupiter. So it was a couple weeks ago, I'm in my meditation, and certain days of the week I go into a meditation where I kind of find that voided area and I just settle and I stop and I allow something to be presented to me, right? So a mission, somebody who needs help, maybe even some of my thought patterns. You know, sometimes it even goes within my molecular structure within my vessel, right? DNA, different cells and stuff upgrading, depending on what it is. Anyhow, I get in this meditation, I sit down, and it was like Jupiter came up. And it's like, well, I really haven't worked with Jupiter. That's kind of interesting. It's like instantly thrown into the storm on Jupiter and kind of saw how those energetical plays were going. But then now I came into like this huge coliseum in a way, or maybe a warehouse. It's hard to describe. Big, vast space with lots of different individual souls. And what it was shown to me was these souls were hiding in Jupiter, right? And they've been in there that 12-year span. So for me, it was like putting in a teleportation device to bring these souls back to the earth, right? To bring these souls back to where they were presented from, right? Cleaning up the solar system, if you will. But it was also very interesting because a lot of these people that were, I guess you'd say, astrally hiding out on Jupiter, it was almost they were using Jupiter as like, almost like a shield or a bodyguard, which was very interesting. So they were deflecting their own path, their own self-worth, their own, shadow work, if you will, their own grit and stuff they needed to go through in order to expand fully. Instead of going through that, they kind of just casted it off and it was landed on Jupiter, which was very fascinating to me. So I saw this energy come back in, and I saw kind of like Jupiter being ridden of that astral energy, right? purifying Jupiter back to its intentions, but also bringing those energies back here to where they can integrate and dissolve where needed to be, which is very interesting. Then I find out a week later that Jupiter is going through this 12-year cycle, and this was the end of it. And it's like, wow, how powerful was it to be able to do a transformational shift of energy back to the original sources, right? And clean up so much quantum entanglement just within that one little area, right, of Jupiter. So I found that very interesting. I wanted to share that with you guys. I don't know if anybody else has been doing any work with Jupiter. It seems very powerful, but in the same sense, I'm not sure about it, right? I don't interact with Jupiter very much, but I was honored to be able to be in the position to help that energetical shift take place, right? At the time, I'm still dealing with my end of solstice, into the 6 month, let's say battle cycle, if we will. It wasn't an easy 6 months. So that's why I'm saying, hallelujah, holy solstice, right? Because we needed a change. God, the way we were going, just the thought patterns and everything, it was not constructive, right? It was very deconstructive. And then when you get in the deconstructive mode, what happens? You look at yourself in the mirror and you start becoming the critic, right? Well, who's the worst critic? You. So if you're criticizing yourself because of the way the energies have been bombarding you, right? It's just this whole slow snowball of effect. But it's also interesting how that quantumly entangles within the energy, right? So when we get this shift, it's like there's 12 balls in a way, and the 12 balls shift. Well, now all that stuff that we were dealing with is hidden, right? So all the things that we want to blossom within the next 6 months has arisen, right? It's also a very powerful time because we went through the darkest day, right? And now the days are getting longer, which, hallelujah, I love that, right? Who likes this dark stuff at 5:30? But it's very interesting to think about, okay? These planets are coming to a cycle in right when our cycle of the solstice, right? So not only are we getting a shift in the solstice, we're getting a shift in the atmosphere. We're also getting a shift in the planets. Like I said, I think 8 different planets are going direct, or whatever that means, where they're coming into that 0 point, where they're starting a new cycle, right? So that's always exciting to me, especially someone who embraces change, right? Not much change happened over the last 6 months, right? But to be able to see, okay, we're stepping in all these new beginnings, and the possibility for new beginnings, the possibility for different modalities to come out, right? The possibilities for these gifts that everybody wants to achieve is so magnified, right? I look at it from a sports perspective, right? If you start out the game strong, fast, quick, and you get ahead, well, normally you have the upper hand, right? You have the momentum and stuff. So if we know all these new beginnings are happening, right? Our soul's still kind of particular on a few directions, right? Of how we want to sustain this life, right? We can focus on those two and allow the smoke to clear, right? The critic to clear. The energy of support, right, is magnifying. But if you're still in a critic mode and you don't want the support and you're not really ready to change and you're waddling, right? You're teeter-tottering back and forth. It's going to be difficult to hit that balanced equilibrium. What I'm saying is springboard that what was going on 6 months ago so you can throw what's going to happen the next 6 months way up into the atmosphere so you can obtain it, achieve it, right? Obviously, we got to visualize it, we got to believe it, and then we got to become it. And as we become it, we have to have the feeling of the already achieving of it. I know it's a little hard to understand, but those of you who've been following me for the past, 3 years now, I think most of you understand that. So yeah, it was just really wicked out there over the last couple of months, really coming to that closure of the solstice, right? And for me, I was still seeing energetically, but I wasn't seeing clear visions, right? It was almost like I was blindfolded again. And that kind of bothered me because I'd spent so much time developing my psychic senses of seeing, right? My clairvoyance. And it was like, why isn't it working, What did I do, right? That critic came back again. But then I had to take the step back and look at it and say, okay, why, right? And what was shown to me was like, we were hiding the despair of the lower levels of energy that you have come out of, so you did not become back a victim of prey. Meaning I was blindfolded to not see where most of my energetic bodies were being, because I had already learned those lessons, but in the same sense, my energetical bodies had to come grasp through that, if you will. Not reintegrate it, but it's like that different self, that aspect had to be tried back through it to see if it would stumble and make the same mistake, right? And then so if you're in despair and you see the despair, right, what's that going to do to your thoughts? What's that going to do to your mental? What's that, if I'm seeing something that's not truly accurate, but then I discern it as to be true, and then I put that in my thought and my beliefs, that's going to cycle around in there and cause more confusion. Right? So to step back in my discernment, to take the time to ask, okay, what's going on? Well, you were blindfolded. Why was I blindfolded? So you didn't have to see the despair. See, it's something energetically that everybody had to go through, even if they've already kind of did that shadow work, right? It was all brought up to see, hey, are you going to fall victim again, right? Are you going to fall back into that victim mentality, right? And for me, the victim mentality is just, it's so far down from my baseline. Like, I don't even get into victim, right? Like, I understand I am a consequence of my own actions, right? I think for some of you younger men out there, to take consequences for your action is really what kind of brings you into that manlyhood, because now you're becoming a man for your decisions, right? Very important and powerful. So remember that. But like I said, it wasn't easy, and it was very, I'm sitting back here now and I'm more in my joy and I'm more humbled, but it was it's like teeth clenching, like just, like why, and now, we're going out of that cycle and we see that even being in those lower thought forms of how much it was able to transmutate, how much we were able to withstand some of the unbecoming energies that we did not want around our field. So obviously before that and better, everything's clearing and we're very excited for the direction we're heading. So the message from my higher self was, take the blindfold off, for what you will see will not be the same as it once was. So what you were seeing 6 months ago, visually you're going to see a complete opposite end of that spectrum, right? So encouraging to take the blindfold off, to look back in through the ethers and find those little nuggets of awesomeness and beautifulness and pull them back into the center. So obviously with Christmas, the joy in the air, kids off of school, nobody working very much, the atmosphere was a lot calmer, right? Now we're going into this new year, it's picking up a little bit with the work week and whatnot, but the atmosphere is calmer. The energetics have changed. The way we are interconnected and interacting with the solar system, with the planets, is shifting, right? Everything's coming into this new beginning, right? So I'm here now to tell you guys, look, you're in a new beginning. It's time to be new. It's time to be you. Ooh, I like it. Because I am guiding delight, but you guys are guiding delight with me, right? Together we are guiding delight. Discernment goes a long way, and your discernment builds and amplifies your energy. But as you're building your discernment, it's helpful to have understandings of other people's wisdom so that you can kind of make your perfect discernment cake, if you will, and eat it with that ice cream. That's what I'm talking about. Of course, some people say cake and ice cream is no good, but hey, birthdays and holidays, we'll cheat a little bit. But yeah, I'm just really excited we're changing, right? Like I said, there was not very much momentum, and then to shift into higher thought or shift into a different train, that was almost nearly impossible, right? And now it's effortless, right? So the struggles of the 6 months that we just had. Now we're in an effortless energy. So more momentum building, more wind in our sails. So some people describe it as a big wave came in, right? And we're riding the wave. And maybe that's it too. It's a good analogy, right? We're sitting around for 6 months waiting on a damn wave. Like, give me something. I'm tired of sitting here just bouncing around. I need a wave. I need something to propel me forward, right? I try to do it through energy. I try to do it from meditation. I couldn't get forward because the atmosphere was so confining, right? We couldn't break past those barriers. But now all of a sudden, barriers are gone. Waves are rolling in. Things are moving, right? And I'm honored and I'm thankful to know what actions to take place when the energy is rolling, right? How to grab the surfboard, how to, get ahead so we don't get barreled. It's a beautiful, beautiful analogy. But that's just it. I mean, it's exciting. Like I said, there's all kinds of different new beginnings happening within the astronomy itself, right? Atmospherical, energetically, we always say we're at a point in time in history that has never been achieved. But if we really look back into history, angels and giants walked the earth, right? They had this magic. We lost our way, right? Now we're finding our way back into the magic. But the potential for the energy, like the miraculous, the miracle energy, right? I just feel like the knob got turned to full blast and it's like, see what they'll do. Now, obviously things start out slow. If it's very bright, huge energy up above, it takes time to filter it down into the vessel, encodex the cells and push it into Mother Gaia like we're supposed to. But to know, oh man, it makes me so excited. It's just, I haven't felt that excitement in quite some time, right? I got lost in the economy. I got lost in all this crap. I stayed true to myself, but truly in myself, I did not see that huge passion to like just punch through walls to get what we need to get. It was more like we try to go through it and it's like flubber or something, it just pushes us back to where we were. And it's like every time we try to move forward, a little bit more strength, a little bit more power, a little bit more push, and we just end up back in the same spot. I'm very frustrated. I know for some of you who are still going through your dark nights of the soul and stuff, you might experience this last 6 months a little bit different, right? And it's probably, some of you, it probably was very, jaw clenching, pulling through some of the worst things about yourself, right? And I honor you for doing that, because doing the work's not easy, but in the same sense, how rewarding it can be, right? To rid yourself of frustration, to rid yourself of, just things that take your energy into a different way that you desire it to be, right? Obviously, when we're upset, we release cortisone and all kinds of different hormones, right? If we're in joy, we're releasing different types of hormones. So to have something frustrate you, right, and affect your whole energy bodies, it's very almost alarming, right? And we're coming back out of that. Like I said, we've made a shift and it's beautiful. But putting that intuitive perspective in there, right? Now's the time I can slingshot myself forward, right? And then it comes back to, well, be careful what you ask for, right? Because if you ask for it all, you might get it, right? Seeing with the third eye is awesome, but in the same sense, you're shown disturbing things, right? And when you're shown a disturbing thing, you can't allow it to emotionally affect you, because that affects how well-beaming the heart is, right? But in the same sense, if you desire to have these things, keep your focus and vision on that and allow God to bring it to you, right? Everybody's going to have the trials and tribulations, but allow God to bring it to you, right? I think that's key. We don't have to go push and find. We're already perfect, right? We just got to understand that. Coming from the oneness and the wholeness, right? Okay, so we talked about Jupiter 12-year cycle, new dragon energy. Yes, so some of you know me behind the scenes. Obviously, I have a very big, huge dragon aspects, if you will, right? And the white dragon who helped save the Estinaki and was given to me is now merging with my blue dragon, which is the blue dragon's what helps seed the Pleiadians. So now this divine white dragon is merging with this divine blue dragon, and it's creating a vortex of a color I can't quite describe. It's like almost like turquoise, but more blue, but with a lot of white plasma in it. Just totally phenomenal, right? And if we look at it, the dragons are kind of like the last gate of defense for this whole Milky Way sector, if you will, right? So they're kind of containing everything within this universe, right? Obviously, there's more universes out there, but let's not say universe. Let's say galaxy. That's a better word for it. So they have the upper hand because they were on a higher... what's the best way to explain this? From where they at is where all this fractalization of duality happened, right? So they were like the start of the splits out within the duality. Very, very neat to see that energy kind of combine, but also very powerful to feel what that was like. And obviously that was it's a little bit of the new magic that's been happening with this shift and the solstice, the holy solstice happening. Really just bringing us into these new beginnings. And for me, that new beginning is working with the dragon energy, but not keeping them separate, right? Combining them into one. So it's less fractalization for my soul, right? We think fractalization is great. We think all these different bodies are good, right? But in the same sense, bringing back everything into the center, into the oneness, right? Having that complete package locked and sealed within you, very powerful, right? The human vessel is a container for the soul. Without the human vessel, our souls would be merely sliding through the universes, right? Or the galaxies. But we have a container here, right? And how cool is it that we have the opportunity to bring in all of those aspects into one container, into one stream of information, right? Not having to bilocate, not having to trilocate, just it's all located in one, right? I think that's the oneness and the unity that they talk about within the law of one in a way too, but just wanted to share that little bit of a dragon experience that I've had. I mean, obviously the blue and the white energy combined, like you got the divinity of the white, which is just so powerful. And then you got all of the royalty that goes with the blue, the greatness within the Pleiadians, the greatness within the Nordics, like all that blue energy is tied together. It even ties to the raccoons, right? And ties to the organicness that my soul is, right? Very organic, very old soul. So honored to share that with you guys. Obviously pay attention to that blue energy. I know a lot of people said the Pleiadians are trying to come back in, really trying to get into this higher heart, this higher understanding of love, more self-appreciation, more self-love, but then also taking that love out and being humble. And also, I can't think of the word for it, but it's like we're in a situation and we respect what's happening, even though it's not how we desired it, because it's what those individuals chose, right? So having that kind of understanding, that higher observable, right? Where, yeah, I probably should interject, but I'm just going to let this play out because that's how they're choosing to act, right? Very interesting, very interesting. So I hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, another nice little visual I got was these gears, right? And when I turned on some of my extra consciousness, if you will, that higher galactic consciousness, I had these cogwheels I hadn't turned in quite some time. So it's like the light bulb come on and the cogwheels started to turn. Well, the cogwheels turned into one big cog, if that makes sense, one big plate. And my plate had been completely covered in despair, right? Lots of dark things, lots of things I don't even really condemn to. And the day before the solstice hit, I cleared that cog gear. and it actually like spun up and started spinning again. And to me, that was like, okay, your creation wheel had stopped. You know, a little bit might have been my fault, but a little bit, you know, a lot of it was the atmosphere and the things that were going on within the plane of existence. So I got this creative cog gear spinning again. And it was interesting because the things that were kind of looshing off of it, they come trying to fly back into it. And once it's got momentum, it's a bug zapper. So very interesting stuff. But I guess my thing is to you, have you found your creative cog? Have you found your creative wheel, right? Some of us talk about the wheel and we think about karma and we get into other things, but it was powerful to see that clear off as well, because as it happened, I felt that darkness leave me, right? I could see it just like kind of sputtering out of me. But the lightness and the tingling and the expansion of the heart that took place after it was quite it's hard to explain when your whole body just starts vibrating and tingling and your heart's like singing and that electricity is just zzz, and like you feel it in your neck, runs down your back, and you know your heart is pushing a field of energy. You know, we have to get out of the mind, you know, and the emotions to get to those points. But when we truly achieve a point like that, and we get into a state of vibrating at that high of a frequency, think about everything that happens at a cellular level at that point in time, right? Very powerful. That's when we change. That's when the DNA wakes up. That's when opportunities arise. So very excited for that as well. Oh, baby. So, little cards for the rest of the week. Going into y'all new year. So glad to get over this year. 2022 was rough. It was definitely a you year. And I wasn't kind to it. It wasn't keen to me. It wasn't kind to me. We still had a great time. Obviously coming more into my self-awareness, coming into being present was a big thing. But man, it was just a tough year. Energetically, you know, not very much momentum for me. You know, obviously I'm a dragon in the Chinese, so if this is a year of the tiger, so if you were a tiger, maybe you had a great year, and I honor you for that. But hey, my year's coming up soon, so we got victory. Everybody loves this card. We've seen it way too many times. How many times we got to be reminded we've already won, right? So it's fading away of the old, right? We're turning scripts to the new. New energies want to react with us. Let's react with them. And we got indecision. So all the indecisions we need to pay attention to, because we've already got victory. So how do we have an indecision if we've got victory, right? Well, it's because we're confused within the atmosphere. So what's going to take? Action, right? We have to put forth the action to get the white horse ahead of the black horse. Normally I say run the two horses together. But in this current time, I really feel like the white horse needs to prevail, because the black horse has led the way for so long. The black horse, it needs a break. The white horse needs to lead the way. And how do you do that? You get rid of your indecision, step into victory. Overall, door to romance. But I don't really see it as a door to romance. I see that heart right in the middle, right? It's a door to get back into your heart. Get back into your heart space, right? Open your heart space. Right? Put the action and the energy coming out of your heart and purifying your fields. That'll blast away your indecisions and give you a feeling of victory. Whew, that made me tingle just thinking about it. Like, yeah, baby, let's go. You know, put the action in, get rid of this indecision, and open your hearts back up like the desire. I know for me, I'll be honest, last 6 months, my heart was not singing at its fullest capacity. Yeah, could be a little bit on me. But in the same sense, look what was going on in the atmosphere. Look what was going on in the solar system. I mean, it's truly remarkable. And like I said, holy solstice. Like, thank God a change is here, right? Thank God we're able to shift. Because it was crazy. It was crazy. I wrote these notes. I was going to do this before Christmas, but the time with the kids and everything obviously did not happen. So I'm honored to be here in this time. But I thought it was very interesting. Joy to the world, right? Hearts can grow. So I was watching the Grinch, right? And it said his heart grew 3 times its size in one day. So let's put that back in this perspective. We find that door to our open heart and we take the action to run from the indecisions and realize we have victory. How much can our hearts grow? Excuse me. Our hearts is what's going to be the focal point of this next 6 months, in my opinion. I mean, we are going to be expanding the heart. So allow yourself to have the understanding that your heart can grow. Your heart can open. You know, some of you might be sitting out there, yeah, my heart's really powerful. I'm like beaming. I got like a 12-foot diameter. Okay, that's great. Bigger, right? Never plateau in this spiritual awakening game. You know what happens when you plateau, right? The universe kicks you over again and says you're not even close to the top. Stay humble for where you are. But remember, your heart can grow. I think that's awesome. And then last bit I got right now is don't be a critic. I kind of touched on it a little bit. You know, when you look yourself in the mirror and you are the critic, right? You are your worst critic. You got to think about that. You can't let the program society that tells you no about everything you desire dictate how you look yourself in the mirror. You have to look at yourself in the mirror with confidence saying, I don't care what they think. I know what I see. I know what I feel. I understand how my belief system is different, but as my belief system changes and becomes more divine, as I step on that divine path, I see the greatness that's happening around me. I feel the energy going through my body, right? That life force energy inside me has grown. So why am I going to listen to somebody on the outside when only I, myself, can understand what's going on the inside, right? When I look myself in the mirror, I need to encourage myself. I need to do my affirmations. I am powerful. I am abundant, right? Tell myself subconsciously that I'm powerful. And then when these naysayers try to critic me, it doesn't come into my thoughts and my energy. And when I look at myself in the mirror, I call myself worthless. No. You know, your cells listen. Don't put yourself down. Don't beat yourself up. Always build yourself up. Remember, you are the worst critic. That's all I want to get out of that. But just think about that. The way society's programmed, well, I mean, for some of us who really come out of the program, we see things that go against the program and how people react to that, right? And then not only that, like our energies. When we change our energies and then we go back around some of these programmed people, right? Our energy agitates them. And it's not because we're doing anything wrong. It's just our energy aggravates them, right? It shakes them to the core of their soul and their soul gets upset. They're like, we got to be what this guy's doing. And then it's like, well, who the hell's this guy, man? Screw that. We won't be who we want to be, you know? Free to choice. So it's very interesting how these complexities work out. But remember, when you're shining and you're bright and you're feeling on top and your back's strong and your heart's beaming, you can't let these little things happen to you to take you out of that presence, right? You got to stay in that presence. And the best way to stay in that presence is self-motivation through yourself, right? That's where that self-love comes into play. So as you motivate yourself, as you love yourself, the more you get around these people that you agitate, the less they can agitate you back. To eventually you come to a point in a decision in life where you become on the other side of the wall, the protection of divinity, and no longer can these critics and naysayers even affect you. And that, my brothers and sisters, is what I hope and desire for all of you. So you those are sitting on the fence, for you that are right next to the fence, this is your opportunity with over the next couple months for sure to expand that heart and step into that divinity that you want to achieve. I mean, it's beautiful. I feel so blessed and honored and energized just to relieve this message out, right? There's been a lot of pent up stuff within me, you know, and to see this full circle approach happening and to see not only the excitement and the joy for where we're going, but the excitement and the joy for where we came from, but the excitement and the joy of how we now feel in the presence, right? It's been so strong and so uplifting over the last 4 or 5 days. I hope you brothers and sisters are feeling it. We're coming into a new year, right? I always say new year, new you. But I don't think it's going to be a new you. I really feel like it's going to be an evolved you. Right? More energy activation, more heart acceleration, right? More bilocation, more trilocation, some of us quad location, pulling aspects into that oneness as I desired and described with the dragon. Becoming the ultimate package of energy is going to be my goal, and I'm going to take you guys on this journey. We got lots more good stuff coming out. I really feel like 2023 is going to be a lot better for content creation than it was for 2022 for me. You know, obviously when we sit in these lulls, the creativity and the inspiration is not there. So the feeling to when I actually get up and stand in front of you guys is great. And for me, you know, I want to put a positive message. I want you to listen to me and walk away energized, right? And so how can I come on here and we're like, oh, you know, the atmosphere is shit. My heart hasn't been activated in probably 2 weeks. I feel like a worthless bum. I'm getting a little jelly. And yeah, life's great. Not kind of the message I want to bring to you guys, obviously. So really excited to get back into this joy. Really excited to get back into an activated heart, if you will. But in the same sense, understand, brothers and sisters, we all went through it together. It was collective, right? We were cleaning up a lot of things, but not only was it collective, it was the imprint we have collectively within the environment we live in. So as we purify our vessels, it'll purify our environment, right? A little tidbit, and we'll stop it at that, is like when you become the gold of creator, right? When you take on the divinity and you embody it, right? You become it. Everything around you turns into gold, if you will. Right? Touch the wall, it's gold. Well, I can't see it. It still looks like a painted wall. Well, because you don't understand the layers of energy that are in that room, right? That wall in a dimension now is gold. Where before it might have been black and you might have kept running into it. So ain't it cool how you can light up your atmosphere in a higher dimension so you can see better and make better moves? Ah. All right. Feeling awesome. I love you guys. Stay up. Probably won't make a new video till the new year. But hey, you guys have a good new year. Stay safe. Don't get too crazy. Remember, if you have too many alcoholic beverages, you invite in a lot of spirits. So if you're not ready to hang out with a lot of spirits, maybe keep those alcoholic beverages to a low. As always, enjoy yourself. Be awesome. Be free. Expand your heart and really come into that acceptance and understand, you know, the positivity of change is here, right? So if we let go of that past action, right, understand we're in victory. Holy Solstice. We've made a change. It's a victory. It's a small victory in the battle, or it's a small battle win, but, you know, we're still in a huge war, right? The Galactic War has been happening for quite some time. Some of you are aware of that. Some of you aren't. Those of you who are aware of it, helping clean up, we honor you. And who knows, you might see me up there doing that with you guys. But let's really just expand those hearts. Be awesome. Be you. Stay true. And until next time, peace. Love you guys.